Einen wunderschönen guten
Incredibly important service.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the 28th of October, 2022. It's a Friday. BBS was first today. What's going on, BBS? How you doing? Chilori, welcome, welcome. Good afternoon, Chilori. Sleeping Yellow Creature, hello, hello. How's everyone doing today? As the title says, crazy, insane, magic, game dev stuff. Today, just kidding, it's level design again. It's always going to be level design until the level design is done, I think. Level designate. It's quite fun though. We kind of make progress on level design a lot. What's going on, Talaba? How are you doing today? We kind of make some good progress on level design on the streams. I think it's because I don't think about it too hard. It's kind of nice because I can chill. It's chill. I can chill. make progress, and chat and have fun. You know, basically it. Same as usual, same as always. Nothing crazy going on today. Nothing to say other than let's go. Anyone been up to anything cool? Been doing anything cool before we get started? Got anything you want to share with us? It's Friday. Feel free to post some work. We can drop some feedback. We can do some feedback. What's been going on? What's been going on? What do? What say? What want? Isn't it? What's been going on? What do? What say? What want? Isn't it? What's going on, Tea House Tales? How are you doing today? I used a ton of duct tape to repair my vent cover and it rained a ton tonight, so I think it worked. Let's go. That's a good fix. I've decided to do NaNoWriMo this year and stream some of it. That's the writing one, right? I remember Kate, NP Kate from Discord. I don't know if Kate's doing it this year, but has done that in the past. And you have to write a certain amount or something like that for November. That's pretty cool. Finally getting any amount of free time this week, not sucked up by work, so finally continuing my city project. Nice. I'm excited to see how that goes. I used to try NaNoWriMo, pretty challenging, never made it. What is it exactly? NaNoWriMo. Nano, what is it exactly? I've definitely seen it before. Like I said, NPK's talked about it. NaNoWriMo. 40k words in a month. Holy shit. Let's have a look at it, shall we? 50k, damn. You're basically trying to write a novel. That's cool though. How many words are you supposed to write a day? 8 rules. Let's have a look at this. National Novel Writing Month. That's cool. I like that. That is very cool. Here it is anyway. Or at least some information about it. Have a look. National Novel Writing Month, or NaNoWriMo, is an annual write-a-thon that takes place in November. Yeah, NPK's done this, 100%. During the event, writers around the world attempt to write 50,000 words of fiction between the 1st and 30th of November. Okay. Learn what you can achieve, make writing progress, build a habit, nurture connections, stay accountable, gain perspective, improve storycraft, prepare writing next book. That's kind of sick. Write a 550, I thought I said 500,000 there. So only count words written during November, none of your own previously written prose. Interesting. Write a novel. We define a novel as a lengthy work of fiction. If you consider the book you're writing a novel, we consider it a novel too. Okay. Benefits. Cool. So what is that? That's 30 days, isn't it? What is 50,000 divided by 30? So you basically have to do 1,666 words a day. Or 7. With the recurring. That does seem difficult. Do you want a tip? Do you want a tip? Would you like a tip? Would you like a tip? Would you like a tip? You want a tip? Would you like a tip? I've got a tip for you. Would you like it? You want it? Would you like the tip? Not the tip, a tip. Or the tip that I want to give you. BT Bob, what's going on? I have a writing program made by the same people, the same person. It's only one person who makes this. I have a writing program that basically cuts all distractions out. It's the same person who made Cold Turkey Blocker, which is the program that I use to block distractions out, like social media and like other shit like that. But this writing program that he makes, it's very cheap. And basically what it does is, I don't know if I can show you. In fact, I'd be scared to show you because it would literally block my whole computer. What's it called? Let me have a look. I'll find it for you. Don't worry, I'll find it. So, and it also has very limited or no, like formatting options. So you can't format, because a lot of times when writing, well, I definitely do this a lot. where I'll format things and I'll like underline and I'll like, you know, just do bullshit stuff that doesn't really matter. So he has this thing called Writer, Get Cold Turkey Writer. So it's basically, it's a super stub, and you cannot exit it until you've reached your goal. So basically, you could write a goal for this NaNoWriMo thing for like 1,667 words, and it will literally not let you leave the program until you do it. You can't. You'd have to literally restart your computer, and even then, I don't know if it would work. Because cold turkey blocker that I've got, there's basically no way around it. It's insane. What's going on, Gelbers? How you doing? Cold turkey, yeah. Cold turkey. I use I've bought this cold turkey blocker. It's absolutely insane. For getting shit done, because it blocks everything. You know what I mean? So I'd recommend Writer, definitely. I've used this for videos in the past when I really just cannot do videos. I'll put it on for like 2 hours or something, and my whole computer will just be like blocked, basically. But that's just if you need that sort of thing. Ended my work week on a bug I didn't solve, so probably will be thinking about it all weekend. Oh no. It might just come to you. Just let it ruminate. There's once a ship that put to sea. The name of the ship was the Billy of Tea. What the heck? Him? Nice rhyme. We'll be trying to catch up with Inktober though. Stopped just before last week with the conference. Nice, you'll be doing Inktober. That's cool. I like Inktober. I think Inktober is really cool. The ink process is one of my favorites. I'm not about that sort of thing. I'm pretty good at keeping myself on track, but I like to be able to Google stuff while I write, and I like to listen to music while I write. You can listen to music still with it on. It has like a coffee counter thing. But yeah, that's fair enough. Everyone's got their different processes, right? I usually find, for me, writing for me works best when I have zero distractions. Like, my brain just doesn't work otherwise. I need absolutely nothing. No, and even music gets annoying because I think about the music rather than what I'm trying to say. Inktober, but with pixel art, to be honest. Oh, that's cool as well. It's more for the community vibe with work people. Oh, that's nice. That's nice. It's always nice to do. That's one of the best things about challenges, isn't it? Like, just the community thing. I've closed the submissions for the September video. It's making progress. I mean, obviously it's difficult to work at the minute with everything going on. So I'm not being super productive with it. I hoped to have it out by Halloween, because my entry is it's a zombie farm, isn't it? So it was kind of relevant. And obviously the video is going to be showing the process of how I did my September, as well as showing the entries, or some of the entries from what people submitted for September as well. So that it'll get done eventually, whenever video lol. So we'll see. Since Halloween is upon us, that was a good song though. I'm finding myself not too bad, thanks, Kelvers. Life is crazy at the minute, but just getting on with it, you know. Life is not good, but getting on with it. Since Halloween is upon us, do share some horror stories, not necessarily paranormal. I can share a recent horror story. It's not really a horror story. It's just life. Horror stories don't bother me. Real life is a horror story. You know, real life is scary enough. Here's the horror story. Ready? My mom was ill for a while. Went to doctors. They said, "You're all good." Turns out it's cancer. There you go. There's a horror story. It's good to be able to laugh. That's kind of like, what's those things called? What are those things called? What are those things called? The poems where they use that certain format, like 575 or something like that. There's your horror story. I've heard other horror stories. Haiku, that's it. Is capitalism considered a horror story? Depends what you think of capitalism, doesn't it? You're a billionaire, probably not. You're probably loving it. You're probably loving it. Depends on your perspective. The Prime Minister of the UK, that's which one? I'm sure there'll be a new one next week. The life is just a joke, really. So, this is my purpose. I've decided. I used to struggle a lot with this. I used to struggle a lot with this in life. Right? I used to struggle with this idea of purpose, because have you seen that thing which is like ikigai or something, I think it's called, which is like a Japanese way of living, which is basically a circle, or like a Zen, not Zen diagram, what they called thingy diagrams. Is it Zen diagram? Where basically you choose something that you like, you choose something that you're good at, and you choose something that is Ven. That's it. Thank you. You choose something you're good at, and you choose something that's helpful. And I think another one is like what people want as well. Like it's a need. Not only helpful, but is also a need. And that... Oh, I fucked that up. One sec. I fucked that up. I should have used 4. 1, 2, 3... Fuck that. How do you do Venn diagram with 4? Where's the circle with all of them? This one here. So, need... something that is needed, something that is helpful, something that you like and enjoy, and then something that you're good at. And this is the idea of ikigai or something like that, where this is your purpose, essentially, or that's a way to live. If you can find something which just gets all of those things, you have something here. And for a while, I kind of struggled with this, because I struggled with, I think, this one, the need. And I struggle with the need and the help. Like, I think I'm fairly decent at art and video stuff. And I like doing art and video stuff and game dev stuff. But is it needed and is it helpful? For that, I struggled for a while. Until recently, because of that horror story that I've just shared with you. I think there sometimes can be nothing more important than a good distraction. You know what I mean? A good distraction which takes you out of the world or inspires you to do something yourself. Like, holy shit, that is so powerful. So I kind of at peace with what I do now. For a while I was like, I don't do anything useful. It's gonna... What do you think your ikigai is? Renting is a horror story. Yeah, true. How's it going? Not too bad, thanks, Tom. How are you doing? Anything beyond what we need is poison. It can be power, laziness, food, ego, ambition, vanity, fear, anger, whatever. Yeah, 100%. I think I agree with that. I think I agree with that. I think it's we're too caught up with more and more and more and more and more. But what's it for? You know what I mean? What is it for? What do you need? What more? I think there was a point. I don't know what, and I'm not being, don't take my word on this. I'm not like a politician or a historian or smart. But I think there's a point with what humanity wants and like what we actually needed and what is beneficial and what resources are being spent in certain places. Like, how much of it do we actually need? Like, I'm sure there was a peak that we've hit. You know what I mean? I think we've hit the peak. I don't know if we've hit it yet, but I feel like maybe we've hit the peak, right? I feel like we've maybe hit the peak, and the things that we are doing now or necessarily going now are not necessarily good things or necessary things. They're obviously things that you want to advance, like medicine and all that shit. You know what I mean? I can admire the Japanese mindset for sure, just grinding that one thing and making yourself a master. Yeah. Yeah, I struggled with that a lot. I find it so hard to just do one thing. I used to think that when I was younger. Like, I'll just do art. I'll just do art and draw and be the best drawer. but it's so hard to just stick to one thing. Oh, I find it is anyway. And I never really, like, at school, everyone was like, I'm going to university to do this, and I'm going to be this. And it's like, how the fuck do you know that? How do you know that at such a young age? How do you know that's exactly what you're going to do? And I think, I know you're saying it's obviously not exclusively Japanese, like loads of people do that, but also it probably works so well in Japan because in Japan their work culture is fucking horrible. You know what I mean? Like, as much as I can admire that mindset, I also feel sorry for how fucking horrible their attitude towards work is. Like, I think it's about balance, right? And how many people, the super high suicide rates in Japan because of working and stuff like that. Because imagine if that's what your culture's about. Isn't there a saying or something which is like the nail that sticks out gets hammered down? And if you're that type of person, I'm that type of person where I don't do things conventionally in Britain, you know? A lot of people look at what I do now, like my friends and stuff that I went to school with, and they're like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, what are you doing? And, well, not my friends. My friends aren't like that. I wouldn't have friends like that. But, you know what I mean? There are people like that, and you can feel it. So, as much as I admire it, it's like a personal thing, right? If it works for you, then it works for you. But if it doesn't, then I feel sorry for you if you're in that culture. I feel sorry for cultures that don't work for everyone, you know, which is basically every culture because it can't possibly work for everyone. But anyway, who cares? Remember not to neglect something you need just because you used to have too much. Neglect something you need just because you... What do you mean by that, BBS? Like water? I think level design is crazy magic insane game dev. Kind of is, Zai. Lana Del Rey is my religion and I agree with her. I want more. Hey, you can choose to be whatever you want religion-wise, basically. If that's your religion, Lana Del Rey, then all the best. Feels impossible to dedicate myself fully to one pursuit, music, art, writing, and so much more. It's just so satisfying in an odd way to learn everything. I'm exactly the same, T-House Tales. I think it's like it's a curse, but also a blessing. You know what I mean? It's a curse and a blessing. You can have that, you can experience the joy, but I think you can, like, I wonder how much those people, well, you can't possibly be a master of one thing just by doing one thing. You can be a master of like one very specific thing. You know what I mean? Like, if you're like, you can't draw like the late Kim Jong-gi and also be a master painter, and also be a master cartoonist, and also be a master, like, you can't do all those things. You have to be very specialized. It's very specialized, right? Which is kind of cool. But imagine how much you'd grow if you did multiple things. There's a saying, which is, there is a saying, which is, what's it? The master of one thing. What's it called again? Oh, jack of all trades, master of none. That actually has a follow-up. That isn't the whole thing. The follow-up is I think it is sometimes, or is most times, better than a master of one. Did you know that? Did you know that's the ending to that? I had no idea. Something like that anyway. Don't quote me fully on it, but it's something like that, you know what I mean? But oftentimes, yeah, that's it. Oftentimes better than a master of one, yeah. What's going on, Waters? It's going okay. You know, life shit, that's how it is. How are you doing? I mean, what am I supposed to do? Go to college, grad school, work, look around? We all live in public now. We're all in the internet. How do you think people become famous anymore? You don't have to achieve anything. You just have fucked up shit happen to you. Fame, I think, I think one thing that I think will become a real thing is, beforehand,
like, because the barrier to entry is so low, you know, because the barrier to entry is so incredibly low for posting art and trying to, you know, putting yourself out there. Everyone has an Instagram page these days. People's pets have Instagram pages. You know what I mean? Everything exists that can possibly exist. I think the real thing is going to be the people that stand out are going to be the people who work the hardest. You know what I mean? They're gonna work the hardest. Not just, I don't mean like work the hard as in like you got a grind culture type thing, but work the hard on like talavasin, like being super specialized, you know, or, you know, just having also an incredible work ethic, and also just being like above and beyond the quality level that's already out there. If you can do that, like, you're obviously going to stand out. Obviously that's the same as anything, but I think that's even more important now. I actually don't think people who stand out are the ones that work the hardest. I think always, no. It's not, I don't think always, but I think it will become more important. Just not what I see happen. What do you see happen? What examples have you got? Because I guess from my perspective, I see a lot of people doing the same. A lot of people doing the same. Posting the same kinds of stuff, making the same kinds of stuff, the qualities are around the same level, and none of them are necessarily like standing out. You know what I mean? I mean like standing out. Whereas I look at someone like Curry Goat, who works incredibly hard, friend of mine, works incredibly hard, right? And stands out. You know what I mean? Like, to me, stands out amongst the crowd of creators out there. It's really hard to judge who does what and how and why they are at the point they are just from the facade put forward on the 100%. I love 100%. Because I don't post anything, I realize. I barely post anything as well. Like, my internet presence has reduced. Things have been going better because I actually realize how pointless it is. And I think the problem, I think I can only speak from my experience, obviously, but my experience has literally been, I want people to see my stuff, and it's so important to share my stuff, and I hope I get likes, and I'm obsessed with numbers. That's how it started as a young artist online. And actually, I realized the less I give a shit about this, the better it goes. So now my mindset is like, and I still struggle with like hoping people like what I do, which I'm trying to get rid of. But now it's like, I need to do what is important to me. And if I put the time and effort into what is important to me, that's all that matters. That's literally all that matters. Because what I found myself doing, like when I was going down this path, I found myself like making things based on what I thought other people would like. So like making fan art, having a stupid, cringy personality, like put on, like fake, stupid, cringy, sort of fake personality. You know, doing videos in very specific ways because algorithm juice. And actually all of those things will just make you like everyone else. It's just going to make you like everyone else. Anyone can make fan art, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with fan art. Like there's a time and a place for fan art, but like established characters and stuff like that, established stories, nothing wrong with that. But like this stuff, there's definitely something wrong with having a stupid, cringy, fake personality. There's definitely something wrong with doing things in specific ways because of algorithm juice. And there's like a balance, right? It's not, from my experience, it's like a balance, because if you want your stuff to do well, you do have to consider the algorithm juice, but it can't be the driving factor. Because if you let it be the driving factor, you start becoming this this weird social media monster. You know what I mean? You start becoming this weird social media monster. And actually, I think what's most important from my point of view is to look back on what you've done and be proud of it. And that is incredibly hard. This is incredibly hard, you know? And the metric, like what metric do you look at when you think of what's something that you're proud of? You know what I mean? What metric do you look at? Do you look at the likes? Is it the amount of likes that it gets? Is it who comments on it? I don't think it is. At least for me, it's not. That's not important to me. Like, and now that I realize that, it's the way I make things, hopefully, is changing for the better. You don't have social media? Beats you back, that's probably a good thing. You know what I mean? You never know how much you've improved your technique since your first. Exactly. You're constantly improving. You're constantly improving. And if you're constantly being, at least trying to make yourself proud and trying to improve and trying to get better, like, it's so shallow, like, to think about likes and to think about all that stuff. It's so incredibly shallow, and it's not going to get you. It might get you some brand deals. It might get you some sponsorships. It might get you some recognition online, which at the end of the day means absolutely nothing. You know what I mean? It means absolutely nothing because you can, you know, it's just so shallow, I feel like it's such a shallow pursuit. And I've wasted a lot of my time. I can say that because I've wasted a lot of my time pursuing it. You know what I mean? What's going on, Zuljan Zero? I try to act like I don't care about my post with getting 100 times my normal likes. Yeah, I think that when that becomes almost normal, like I was 100% the same. I was 100, and it's like me saying it from a position where I've built an audience. You know what I mean? That I can post, and it's not every time. Like it's not every time I post something it does really well, but it's more likely now than when I first started. You know what I mean? It's more likely now than when I first started, just because of the audience that I built through the YouTube and stuff. But I think you kind of lose that. You know what I mean? You will lose it. You know what I mean? And the thing with realizing that you're going to lose it, because you chase it, right? And not necessarily chase it, but that feeling you get, you know, that feeling you get when it gets hundreds of likes and whatever, or, you know, 100 times your normal. That's essentially your brain getting dopamine off something you personally can't control. Because there are so many more factors that go into social media success than the actual work that you put into it. Like you could put, how many people have seen the meme of like post a sketch, gets 10 million likes, you know what I mean? Versus spends 10,000 hours on a painting that's perfect, 10 likes. You know what I'm saying? And that's real. That's a real thing. And when you, like, it's nice to sort of see it, but it's not what you should focus on, because you can't control it. Like, you can't control it. You can do things and you can tag things and you can try and create your best work and chase it, but chasing it will lead you down a rabbit hole. And in fact, if you wanted to chase it, there's a very simple thing you can do. And I was thinking about doing this for a video. I think it actually helped a bit with being disappointed at the lack of likes on the others. I felt like mostly luck, just good timing, the right people retweeting, and relatively good piece. Yes, exactly right. The stars aligned in that sense. You know, seeing all of those things, you're 100% right. Good timing, people retweeting, good piece. Like, it wasn't a bad piece. A bad piece doing well is really hard. A good piece doing well, you'd expect, because this is the one thing you'd expect, right? Good piece equals does well, but that's not necessarily right. It's good piece plus this, plus other things, like Twitter showing it, you know what I mean, to people, because they can choose what they show to people. And if it's not relevant to certain circles, if it's not specific enough to certain circles, they're just not going to show it. So there's loads of things you just don't get to control. The only thing you can control is this bit. You know what I mean? And you get to decide what a good piece is. I was actually thinking of a video idea where I make a profile, right? Completely new, brand new profile. And I make like 3 art pieces or something, and I post them on social media, knowing everything that I know about like marketing and the strategies that are used to try and increase like posts awareness, the timing and stuff like that you learn through doing it, and see how it performs. I think that could be really interesting. You know what I mean? Like, see how equal is it really? You know what I mean? How equal is it? And I think what would happen, my hypothesis is that a brand new profile isn't going to do as well, because you don't have a base of people to push your work, unless you get extremely lucky with the tag and the type of art, and depending on the type of art itself. But there are types of art that do really well on Twitter, for example, and they are almost like lo-fi. They're like lo-fi, chill, relaxing vibes. You know what I mean? Those types of arts will do incredibly well. So just pick something which is like freaking abandoned something with greenery and chill, and good luck. Could also just pick one type of art and stick with it. Consistency is key and all. Definitely like a farm. Exactly, like a farm. You know what I mean? Like that. It wasn't a coincidence. It's not a coincidence that farm was chosen. You know what I mean? The thoughts about it. One, I wanted to make a farm, but also I think it would perform well, and it has. You know what I mean? People who've posted their farms, people love it. So in the 50s, there was an experiment on a rat, where scientists put a simulation wire into the brain of a rat, where the rat could press the button for the simulation. The rat died because it did not eat anymore. Jesus. Could also just pick one type of art and stick with it. Consistency is key and all. I think it depends, you know? It depends on the type of artist you want to be, you know? Consistency is key for what? For social media growth? Yeah. Yes, it is. I'd agree with you. I'd say yes, it is. But I'd also say, why the fuck does that matter? In the scale of things. You know what I mean? In the scale of you as an artist, as a creator. You know what I mean? As a style, as an artist, as a creator, as someone who wants to do something unique, and, you know, why does social media growth matter? And social media, there's multiple reasons, actually. You know, I'm not saying it's not important, because you can get more jobs, you can turn it into a job, you can increase the people's awareness of what you do, so that you can branch out. You know, I started with pixel art, and I've branched out into game dev, and will branch out into other things. You know, I've done loads of stuff, and doing pixel art videos helped that a lot. However, I will say that me focusing purely on pixel art has been horrendous, because what you post is what is expected. Like Waters Art has just said, I changed my art style for some Instagram posts and lost 100 followers. What you post is what's expected. And what you actually need, what is actually the most important thing is loyal, true supporters. Now, what's that? What is a loyal, true supporter versus just a follower? A follower is, in my opinion, someone who wants a specific thing. They follow for a specific thing. So I'll put it here, pixel art tutorials. A follower is someone who goes, they've seen me do a pixel art tutorial, they've seen that I do pixel art tutorials, and all they're wanting is a pixel art tutorial. And all the messages that I get from them are, when's the next pixel art tutorial? They don't care for what you're actually making because they want a certain thing. And that's not a bad thing. There's nothing wrong with a follower. You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but there's difference between a follower and the loyal, true supporter, which is they don't care what you make. You know what I mean? They just like it when you make stuff. You know what I mean? And those types of people are cool because they give you the confidence to believe in yourself to make other things. You know what I'm saying? And to expand your creativity. Like I've been a follower. I'm both of these things. I am a loyal, true supporter for some people and a follower for some people. And what I've found with this follower type thing that I've got is I get quite bored of it, of the same thing eventually. Like your YouTube, if you look at your YouTube algorithm or who you follow on Twitter or who you follow on Instagram, that will not be the same right now as it was a month ago, as it was 2 months ago, as it was 3 months ago, as it was a year ago. That's because your interests change over time. And the problem with sticking to one thing is that you are essentially dooming yourself to just do one thing. And the problem with sticking to one thing is it becomes expected, and secondly, you will feel bad for trying new things. So have you ever seen those streamers who stream the same game, like Fortnite streamers, for example? You ever seen streamers who stream the same thing? And they do that for 16 hours a day, every day. You know what I mean? They play the same game every day. And what happens is, it's the same with art and art styles and things like that. You become scared to try something else. And that, as a creator, is probably, in my opinion, one of the worst things you can have. And this was me with pixel art. I was at a point where I was like, I don't know if I can release, because the pixel art videos have done so well, I don't know if I can release something that is anything other than what is expected. And if you are at that point where you don't know if you can make something because people have followed for a certain thing, you're in a bad position, because then it's changing what you're making. And it's not what you want to be making. You're not fully in control of what you want to be making. And that's a bad thing for a creator, in my opinion. It's not the best thing for social media growth to have lots of variety. 100% agree. But as a creator, as a person, as an artist, as someone who wants to make cool shit, like, limiting yourself is a huge problem. It's a huge problem. And your followers might drop. You might have lost 100 followers, Waters. But guess what? People stuck around, didn't they? Some people stuck around, and the people that stuck around are the loyal, true supporters. That, in the long run, there you go. You don't want people controlling you. Exactly, BT Bap. 2014, being on the background, still around. You've come a long way. So, I've been around way longer than 2014. It's interesting. I started YouTube when I mean, let's have a look. I don't think I've got my videos live, so. Yeah, I don't have the videos live, but I started that channel in 2011. So I started my gaming channel in 2011, and before that I had a gaming channel with friends. So I've been doing online stuff for a long time. At the same time, the imminent burnouts over the same type of work over... Yes, that's it. Imminent burnouts over the same type of work. Pieman, I felt exactly that with pixel art. With pixel art and pixel art tutorials and stuff. I asked Katie, right? Ask Katie what the process is like for me making a tutorial now. It used to be excitement and fun with helping people. But now I hate this process from start to finish. And it's because I burnt myself out on it. And I needed a change. And I did. And I'm fortunate that people have enjoyed it. But at the same time, I can't control whether people enjoy it. I just have to make things that I like and hope that people follow. If not, then they don't. I'll just go and work in the fucking retail again. You know what I mean? You can't control it. Don't worry about it. Maslow's hierarchy of needs includes a recognition for a reason. People just chase it too early. Maslow's hierarchy of needs. What is that? I would question what that is and why that's relevant to me. Don't work in retail. Yeah, I used to work in retail. It does suck. I've worked in Primark. I've worked in Sainsbury's. I've worked in a bunch of things. Maslow's hierarchy of needs is an idea in psychology proposed by American psychologist Abraham Maslow. Okay, it's a theory. I don't agree with it. Sorted. I don't think it's a need. I think it's, my theory is that I don't think it's a need. I think it's a want. You want people's recognition. But I don't think it's a need. I think you need water. You know what I mean? You need food. You need to subscribe to Soul Tunes. Like, the pyramid of needs, it's near the top, so it's not a need at the base. Is that a thing? Okay. I mean, I just Googled it, so. So this is it, right? So it's near the top, so it's not a need at the base. So the base are like your needs. Well, I would argue all of these ones are just not needs. That's a need. You need to breathe, you need food, you need water, you need sex, apparently. You need sleep, whatever this is, and excretion. Oh, I excrete all the time. Security of body, of employment, of resources, of morality. Yeah, this is getting into like politics, isn't it? This is like friendship. Do you need friendship? Nah. Need family? Nah. Need sex? Nah. You don't need any of that. Self-esteem? You don't need that. You don't need confidence. You don't need achievement. You don't need respect of others. Yeah, these are wants. These are needs, and these are wants. I want this. I would like this. I would like this. I would like. I need this. You know what I mean? That's how I see it. Obviously, I don't know everything about this till I've just Googled it. I don't know how true this is. Respect by others. In fact, I would also argue that if you feel like these are needs, if you feel like this respect by others is a need, I think you are struggling. And I think respect of others, I don't think you need respect of others. I feel like respect is earned. You know what I mean? Like you earn someone's respect just in the same that you give. You can't just give your respect to everyone. You know what I mean? Basic respect. Well, I don't know. So how do you give basic respect to someone? Like, I will be cautious. I'll be cautious until I've learnt. That's how I'll do it. Until I've learnt. And once I've learnt more about that person, they will either have respect or not. You know what I'm saying? What is basic respect? Who knows? I think it's just once you have everything on one level, you start needing one. Oh, okay, that's interesting. I have heard that before, Talab, actually. Like, once you have this becomes your next thing. I see that. And then this becomes your next thing. And then this becomes your next thing. And then this becomes your next thing. That makes sense. It's sort of like, it sounds like a thing where you like, it sounds like a thing. I did psychology in A-level and I can't remember any of it, but I have heard of it before. I've heard of that before. It sounds like a thing where it's like you can kind of gauge how not well you're doing, but like where you are in life. You know what I mean? Obviously, it's just my opinion as well. Who actually gives a fuck? The biggest problem is that most people live in herds and need confirmation. If this were not so, our world would be better. It's like sin of life. Yeah. I'm giving my art friend money. Let's go. You solved the art problem. Let's go, Tom. That's good. Lem, can I post something in feedback? Go for it, Lem. Let me know when you're done. That's interesting, though. Thanks for posting that, Talaba. Psychologically, we need all these things to have will to live. Being treated like a human, not stressing about the ability to afford living. They're important, sure. We live longer without friends than without food, but loneliness is a killer too. Yeah, and I think what Talaba said as well, it probably depends on the personality as well. Like some people will want or need those other things less than other people. You know what I mean? It's interesting. It's an interesting idea, isn't it? What I need to do is finish my game. I think the pandemic showed that a lot of people are more desperate for human contact than they thought to, which is interesting because I actually loved the solitude. I miss the silence. You know what I mean? I miss the silence. I miss the cars being empty, the roads being empty. I miss the... Like, I felt like I was the opposite. I felt like I was more happy during the pandemic. However, there are others. I think it's the same as like the work from home argument. Like everyone who wants to work from home, everyone that wants to work from home, maybe is more introverted, whereas a lot of people are calling to work from office. And they're just more extroverted, right? And I feel like if you thrive, if you get energy from people, you prefer people, right? Yeah, but you're likely with Katie during the majority of it. The quiet and others is different from social contact. You're not interacting with people in cars. True, but we kind of like nearly bashed each other's heads in. You know what I mean? Like, I like being alone. Like, I really like being alone. I don't know how many people can say that, you know? Like, I would do things alone. I'm completely fine with that. You posted it. I like being lonely like 80% of the time. Like, I'm not saying I don't need it. I'm not saying I don't need the social contact or would like it from time to time. But I think, like you said, people have different personalities, right? And people have different things. Like, I love being alone as well. Like, I think I get so much peace from it. And in fact, I need it to recharge. Like, I find the opposite where, like, or maybe in the same way, like, if I don't have alone time, I start becoming like agitated and annoyed. As I imagine if you don't go and see someone, you know what I mean? There's a difference between enjoying being alone when you can and being alone all the time, true. Like now, none of us are really alone because we have this parasocial connection with another here in your stream, that's true. Good old social batteries, but I don't feel like the stream to me doesn't, I don't know, the stream to me doesn't drain me like a social situation does. Like socially, like I'm tired after a stream for sure, but it's not the same drain that I feel when hanging out with people in real life. Like I feel that drain much more severely. Whereas this, I mean, you know, it's kind of chill. Maybe it's because like I imagine that it's unbelievable to me that you are actually real people, and you could all be bots, and maybe this is just the voices in my head telling me to do stuff. Maybe that's why. Maybe it's because I can't see you. You know what I mean? Like you can see me, but I can't see you. I'm not a bot. Definitely not. That's what a bot would say. Damn, he's onto us. I thought so. All right, let's check out these things. Let's check out these works. We've been live for an hour and I've done nothing. This always happens. I need to give myself a time limit, don't I? With nothingness. Because I like catching up. It's fun. It's nice talking. Nice not being alone. It's a need. Who knows? Who knows? Do whatever you want. There you go. Sorted. As long as you're not hurting people. Who cares? Or being incompetent. So this is Lem's newest artwork. So Lem, some ideas about this? What's going on? What's the dealio? What are you looking for? What are you trying to do? Is it a recreation? Is it a reference? Is it a... What's the dealio? Did you paint this or did you paint this? Can't tell. They're both too good. Why does this crane? This crane looks oddly small, doesn't it? I don't know if this place is just huge, but this crane, because I think it's because the people are there, and that looks at the crane looks really small. We give feedback to the photograph. It's a strange photograph. First of all, it has this weird effect on it. Photography. You painted left, yeah, I think so. Photography is. Remember how I said 3D art work is no bueno when it comes to reference. You also have to be conscious of some photography, because filters, effects, things like that. But obviously, it's easiest to get photos because of they're online. You can do them whatever. If you really like, if you want to do so, if you want to improve at your artwork and stuff, here's what you need to do: go to a museum, take a sketchbook, and draw some shit. You know what I mean? That is one of the best things you can do. Museums there's a lot of free museums around. Maybe they're not where you live, but there'll be something. Or even if you don't go to a museum, just find something in real life where you can look at it. You know what I mean? And you can see exactly how the light appears to you. You know what I mean? That is so important. That is so important. And you don't get that from photography, and you definitely don't get that from 3D artwork. Depending on the artwork and who's done it. But you can't trust that. It's kind of like I said, relying on someone's drawing of an anime character to learn anatomy, like, it's just not going to work, or it's not going to be as useful as doing figure drawing studies, doing pose studies and stuff like that. Do we need to link the small far away Father Ted sketch? Yes. Markabuchi said that as well. I tried that, but it feels unsafe. What feels unsafe? Going outside? I know how you feel there. So you said you try to paint the same but with a different composition, but I made a new building. So this is your new building here. I think overall you have you kind of do capture the building, the idea of the building, you know what I mean? I think I'll give you a task. You want a task? I think you have a lot of soft shading, and this is a beginner thing that I've seen a lot, and something that I've heard other artists talk about. What beginners do is they rely a lot on soft shading, and you think that's the only way to shade. But it's kind of the same as pixel art, right? Like, you can't soft shade in pixel art. Ditherin's the closest thing you can get. But you're missing, like, to me, the clear shapes. If I was using this as reference, the clear shapes are the triangles in the spires. I wouldn't even think about the individual. I wouldn't even think about the individual holes in them at all to start with, you know, in this shape, whatever this is. And here's a task which is really useful, or an exercise in referencing. If you're going to try and reference something, you ready? hard round brush. Hard round brush, no opacity, no flow, bullshit, whatever that is. Just a simple hard round brush. The most basic of brushes. And try to just emulate the shape. Because there's a couple things you're doing when you're looking at a reference, right? The first thing is shape, right? Because the shapes make up the composition. And when you're looking at the shape, ignore the subject matter. And what I mean by ignore the subject matter, like, don't even worry about it being a building or a tree. You know what I mean? Literally just look for the shapes. So if I do that first shape initially with the red, like that, I might look at the tree, which is a tree, but if we ignore it, I might look at this orange blob on the left, if we say it like that, and go, this is another shape here. Right? And this is going to help you. You might do something like that. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it'll help you get an idea. You know what I'm saying? Help you get an idea of things. Ignoring everything else. You know, you can break down the different subject matters into different things, but if you look at that compared to yours, like if you're doing a study of something, you definitely have some semblance of the shapes, but what you've done is you've blurred it out a lot. You've softened it out a lot. Whereas you can start, like, it's easier sometimes to start with the hard shape. And in fact, when you look at some professional artists, let's just find one, okay? Because it's much easier just to find one. If you look at some professional concept artists and professional environment artists, like environment art has its own specialities and stuff. Let's see if we can find one right now. And this is obviously just my feedback. You can do whatever you want. You can do whatever you like. So let's have a look for some background art. Where is it? Character design, environment design. Here we go. Environment, concept, art, and design. So let's look at some of these things, right? Let's see the process. Usually I want to see the ones with the process. Not all of them have process. Some of them are just multiple. I'm looking for process. One thing you can do is study the processes of masters like this, or people who are extremely good. Obviously they use a lot of 3D. Avoid 3D just to start with. Where are the processes? That's a pretty good process, but that's quite complex. I'm looking for a more simple process. Get away. Looking for a more simple process. Maybe this. That's nice. Nice concept art. Maybe we're looking at the wrong thing, but I've seen some before. I've seen it. I know what I'm looking for. And it can be hard to find. It's got any process? No. What's so hard to find damn process pictures? There used to be a process with every picture people posted. Have you seen now people are asking for processes? You'd be surprised by how many different colors are on eggshell. Yeah, anything. Any eggs, fruit and food are really good to do, which is why you usually see them used in like art classes and stuff. Is you'll just paint a bowl of fruit basically. What the heck is all the process? Let's just type in process environment tutorial. Not this. I'm looking for a very specific process. Wow, no wonder it's so hard to learn things. You know what I mean? Or maybe thumbnail. Maybe thumbnails will help. Here we go. This is what I mean. So this is what I mean, right? Peter Faustino is the 2D artist here. But look at these thumbnails. Frick. Look at these thumbnails. Notice, I mean, this one uses opacity, and obviously this is only in value, but look how well these read just with a couple of values and harder brushes. Like they're not using, you can see no soft shading other than opacity, right? But I'd even advise to start with, you usually see this process, you start with literally like 3 or 4 values. Background, some sort of far, a midground and close subjects. 4 values. Try making a background with a hard round brush and 4 values to start with. If you can do that, you've got a good understanding of shapes, you've got a good understanding of composition. And that's your building block, right? Your shapes and your composition. So in order to do that, hard round brush, where are we? An exercise is hard round brush and composition focus. And that is it. Oh, sorry, hard round brush, 4 values only, composition focus. And to study how to do that, look at things like this. Look at professional thumbnails. That's what you're looking for, like I've just shown. And if you can look at the professional thumbnails and kind of see how they've done it, the next step is to elevate that, right? All you have to do is apply color theory and lighting. Well, the lighting kind of comes in with the values, but you basically just have to apply color theory to those compositions. And you're good, you know? You then have a background. You then have something. So when you look at a reference like this, you don't have to, but what I usually do, and what a lot of people do, is they break it down into those elements: shapes, composition, and you can interpret that in your own way. Like maybe you make the road that way on. You know what I mean? And maybe you make it a different shape, but you'll notice that your composition actually starts off quite well. Like if I make, like that's a pretty decent, I did that in less than 10 seconds. I did this, and it's already a decent composition with a subject matter, with leading lines. Like those are all things you got to learn about when you're doing environments. The blockouts of drawing or the pre-production of film. Yes, hey Sokam, what's going on? First time chat hype. Kind of feel like making pixel art has helped me look at shapes more too, because there's almost the only translatable piece on a small size. Yes. And sometimes pixel art's really good for that, and it's definitely helped me a lot as well with that. I agree, Talaba, because there's only so much you can show. Like you're saying, that's the only translatable piece. There's only so much you can show, and there's only like you can give certain details with a couple of pixels, and that's essentially just a small shape. And that's why, I mean, that again furthers the argument of doing more. You know, it furthers the argument of doing more art styles and mediums, because you'll pick up different skills from them, because you don't have to worry so much about the hand drawing skills of pixel art necessarily. You can focus more on color and shape and composition. So yeah, coolio. And the same with 3D actually. 3D art you might not think is very useful for 2D, but it's incredibly useful because it'll help you with form. It'll give you an understanding of form that you've never had before. And being able to, that's one of the biggest tricks with 2D art, is being able to think in a 3D space and create 3D objects. And trying your hand at 3D art will help you do that for 2D, because you'll start to, instead of just being able to draw a cube, for example, you should be able to draw that cube translated into a different direction. You know what I mean? A different area, essentially. And you can do that. The more you do 3D and the more you practice, you'll get that. But anyway, we had a Talaba piece, right? Talaba, did we have yours? So I'd say, yeah, there's your exercise. Next one, hard round brush, 4 values only, composition focus. Don't worry about colors, you're good. Next. There are different types of studies you can do as well. You can do color studies, you can do shape studies, you can do, like, when you're doing studies from photography or images or in real life or something, choose a focus. Like, that's the last thing I'll say. Choose a focus point. Choose a thing to focus on. You know what I mean? Maybe it will be composition. Maybe it will just be colors. Maybe it will be the value structure. Choose one of those things. You know, you don't have to do all of them unless you're doing like a full study. But if you, that's a lot harder to focus on the thing that you're trying to learn. Pick one thing. Learn the value structure of the image. Learn, or maybe do them one after the other. Do the composition first, and then the value structure, and then the colors. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I should make a video on that. I didn't realize just how in depth that is. You know, because it is pretty in depth, but it's just something I just have done before. What's that thing where you've done something before, so you don't really know what people need to know about it? I'm at that point with that. Making the study right now nice, but I'll show you some more examples. Like, look at these. These are incredible backgrounds already, and it's the same with characters. That's why silhouettes work so well. It's just the shape. They don't worry about color. They don't learn about texture. They don't worry about nothing like that. But you still create some amazing stuff, and you'll see that in concept. If you want to be a concept artist, you have to be good with that. That's a but. That's a but as well. No buts, please. Don't want to get banned. But one, if you want some things to study from, so a good reference rather than just searching up some photography, which might not be very good, because photography is hit or miss. Photography can be hit or miss. Here's what you should look at to get good with composition. To get good with composition and shapes, check out cinematography. Check out cinematography and check out like film stills. And some of the best film stills are actually the old school films, like old school, what they call like cowboy films, and like noir-esque, you know, like the noir, like detective type films, because they have really, really strong lighting and because they're black and white, they rely purely on shapes and lighting. So you can do some insane composition studies from that stuff. I think there's actually a website, and if I can remember the website, I'll let you know. But there's a website where you can just check out loads of cinematography, and you can just pick them and just start sketching from them and looking at how they present information and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Because it's really interesting. And it's a great way to get good at compositions, stuff like that. But anyway. Talaba, you had something to look at, didn't you? I think. Did you post it somewhere? Or am I mistaken that? Posted some Inktober stuff in gallery. Nice, cool. Thanks, Harry Hopkinson. What's going on? Appreciate the follow. Inktober. Some of my Inktober pieces. Whoa, these are sweet. Mr. Trend, what's going on? These are cool. I like that you've used the limited palette for it. This is a really nice palette. Fencing. Car. Chimkin. Dog. Chimkin again. Very cool. These are really nice. Mr. Trend, how's it going, bro? Not too bad, thanks, Mr. Trend. How are you doing today? How are you doing today? We're just about to jump into some level design. I've been streaming for an hour and 10 minutes. I like them. You did great work here, Talaba. This will be really cool to see all together. Like in one big post. You should put it in one big post. That would be sick. Pulled off low spec but wanted the parchment vibe. Ah, gotcha. I can see that. I can see the parchment vibe. Hopefully you got the game sorted. Yeah, it's getting there. Slowly but surely we're getting there. Right. Speaking of the game, let me show you this new area which is absolutely nuts. So I'm just going to be doing some level design now, folks. That was my plan. That's going to be sick. 10 million likes incoming. You can get all the dopamine again. Like the starting area. Thanks, Mr. Trend. Yeah, everything is changing with that. Everything's changing with that. It's all... It's all changing. The story's all changing. I'm hyped about it. I'm ready. I'm ready to fully commit. And it's what we were talking earlier on about... We were talking earlier on about... Oh, fuck. That is the worst fall in this game. We were talking earlier on about doing what you want as a creator versus what you think people want. And that was this was one of the hardest decisions to make, to get rid of the lumber stuff, because I've been doing the lumber stuff. It's all over the channel. It's the emotes. It's everything. You know what I mean? So it's kind of, in a way, expected, I guess, from some people or whatever. But now I'm just kind of... Ah, you mother fricker. Can't wait to see, hear the changes. Yeah, I'm excited to make the next devlog as well. I've got a bunch of footage all ready for the next devlog, but I've obviously been working on the September video. There's a lot of things going on in real life at the minute, which are like slowing everything down, but for good reason, because it's shit time at the minute in life. But you know, it'll get done eventually. So once I've done September, I'm just going to go full ham on the devlogs and getting this game done, because it's just what I want to make. You know, oh fuck, that fall is brutal. Can't wait to see, hear the changes. I get that for sure. Kind of starting over on something you already. Yeah, exactly. It's not just starting over on something that you're like you've been. I think because it's been publicly something I've been building, something I've been building publicly, and it's changing as well, has been really hard, because you know, some people, like, I posted obviously the last devlog and on the YouTube, and I've got some really good feedback. I've got some really good feedback on the art, and people are like, I really like the way it looks. Or I wouldn't play a game like this, but I would play it for the art. And it's like, oh fuck, all of the art's gonna change. What's going on, Mick? How you doing? But I know that I would kick myself if I kept going down that route and I didn't explore this. And exploring this has made me realize. Exploring this has made me realize just that I need to focus on doing what I think's best. It's kind of hard. My sister's really sick. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that, Mick. So sorry to hear that. I'm going through something similar as well at the minute with my mom, and it's not easy. You know, it's not easy. Hope she gets better soon. Thoughts are with you. Lumber can be the ultimate completion. Like, yeah, I'll definitely have the unlocking, because everything's already done. You know what I mean? Everything's already done for that. Maybe I'll release that in a video or something like that. Me too. But my thoughts are with you, Mick. You and your family and stuff going through that. It sucks. You know, it absolutely sucks. Just because you threw that away doesn't mean the next finished art. Exactly, yeah. Exactly. Just got to blow them away with the next one. Although, remember what I said, it doesn't matter. As long as I'm happy with it, we're good. I might have told that here already, but a few days ago, I managed to do the impossible. What did you do? You managed to do the impossible. That sparks the imagination. There we go. This is good. I don't like this area. This area is kind of whack. Whee! That's kind of funny though. So, what am I trying to do here? So you come up to here. You've just done this long section and it's boring. I made something work inside Godot. That's insane, Mick. That's such a good feeling, right? You solve that problem solve a problem. You get it working. You can get hooked on that. Like, that's the whole reason I make games, is because I'm hooked on that. Making something. You could say it's a need. Problem solving is a need. Who would have thought it? Apart from the top layers of that thing that we just looked at. Right, so what is this area? You jump up, you bounce, bing, boom, bop. I don't think you need a cloud there. I think the cloud is stupid. Previously, I just looked confused at Godot. Yo, trust me, I've been there a million times. I've been there a million times, and I will return to that. There is always something that I get, like, problem solving is creativity. Yeah, exactly. It's a need. It's a basic human need, Tilaba. Don't you know this? Come on. If I don't have it, I'll die. You understand? I'm an addict for that, coding awful hacks just to feel something. Not MSB, I feel that. Not the awful hacks. Mine's spaghetti code. If I can get, like, there's something about creating a perfect spaghetti, you know, a perfect spaghetti code, where you know that if you move anything or touch anything, it'll all break. That's my, like, thing. That's my thing. I've decided. I'm pretty good at other types of coding, as I've said before, but game dev is different. Yeah, game dev is different. It is. You're right. Game dev is like applied coding. You know what I mean? Coding applied to a... I guess that's all coding really, but like coding applied to a thing, to things, objects. Object coding or something. My code might be spaghetti, but that just means it's saucy, exactly. My code is definitely spaghetti. I don't know what to do in this area here. We come down, we jump up. What do I want to do? So it feels quite full on. I mean, you do get a break there. What do I want to do? Clouds are hard. Well, they're not. By nature, they're not. But what? There's so much you can do. It's like, what the heck? I don't really like this either. Maybe we just go with like a smaller one or something. Jump up here, jump, jump. Oh, that's an idea. Jump over it. Don't touch it, but jump over it and then touch a cloud. That's an interesting idea. Like my code where I have the most weird and random bugs and I don't know how I fixed. I like that though. It's unique. It's unique. And then maybe you jump onto a thing here. Platform here. Which just gets increasingly higher. Just some basic platforming again. Why not? I think sometimes it helps to just like for level design just break out a section. Like just do something like that, for example. And force myself to only use that area. Get kind of creative with that kind of stuff. Still deep in the watch tutorials and recreate phase of learning. Oh, I feel it, Mr. Trent. I was there for a while as well. I think the thing that gets you out of that is starting your own project. Like trying to make something as simple as you possibly can that is your own, you know, and basically piecing together things from other things, like from other tutorials. Like I'm at a point now where I can basically program things from my brain, you know what I mean? But a lot of the times I still need tutorials and I still need to look at things. But all of this game was made from that. And the process of making this game has been probably the best thing I've done for learning. For learning something. Is this possible? Let's find out. I'm currently trying to come up with some for story to give me an idea of what I want to do. Now, stories are overrated. Just think of a fun mechanic. Don't even worry about the story. Unless it's a story-driven game, obviously, then you should probably worry about the story. Oh, that's hype. Wow, I hate this game. Who made this game? Godot might just be one of the better ones to learn because there's only relatively few tutorials. I don't think there is relatively few tutorials. There's relatively few tutorials compared to Unity. That's because, but the quality of Unity tutorials is also not very good. The problem with Unity, a lot of Unity stuff now is a lot of it's outdated as well. Because Unity has so many versions where things just don't work. Unity has so many versions where things don't work, or the code's changed, or some things have changed. There are a million Unity tutorials, but some of them are absolute dog trash. Whereas Heartbeast, if you look at the quality of like Godot tutorials with Heartbeast and Bone CG and stuff like that, you can get some absolutely nuts. You can get some absolutely nuts quality level. Like Bone CG, if you're doing Godot and you're not looking at Bone CG's tutorials, you gotta fix that. You gotta fix that fast. Because it is top quality stuff. But the Bone CG is really good at teaching like... Bone CG is really good at teaching things like proper structure, how to use classes and stuff properly, because in real life, Bone CG is a teacher. And that's one thing you don't get with a lot of Unity people, is they're not teachers. They don't have that experience. Which is fine, you know. That's what YouTube's for, isn't it? Like hobbyists and stuff. And people who aren't pros, like myself. I'm not a pro. Just a noob. Back from mains, how's level design? We just got started. Just kind of trying some stuff out. We just got started. Thinking of putting clouds here. Makes sense, because it's a cloud level. Might try a cloud like here. Like a really high jump cloud. But I think Godot is the future, you know. I think it's the future. For noobs like me. I think it is the future. Simple as. Get over it. You disagree, you disagree. Just means you're wrong. Perfect timing. Welcome on back. Fuck. Sometimes the double jumps don't work, and I don't think it's a problem. I think it's a reset problem. I don't think it's an actual problem. It's a reset problem. Ah, fuck this level. Probably will end up with all 2D Unities going to Godot and mostly 3D heading for Unreal, maybe. I think the problem with Unreal for beginners is it's overwhelming. And for me personally, like, I look at Unreal and even though it is superior for 3D 100%, on all engines, no, I don't think so. I don't think so. I think there's like an accessibility thing, like when I can only speak from my experience, and from what I've seen other people do, but like the initial learning curve, you know what I mean, or what it appears to be. Unreal seems to have a learning curve like super hard, whereas Godot seems to have a less difficult one. And Unity has one which is slightly more difficult than Godot, in my opinion. But also, I'm biased because I started with Unity. And moving to Godot wasn't as hard for me, personally, because I was already used to Unity. But yeah. Godot is such an amazing engine. People are really sleeping on it, in my opinion. It's just getting more and more popular. Like, just getting more and more popular. I know a ton of indie devs are getting into Godot. I mean, with the huge success of Dome Keeper, where, you know, when more and more games like Dome Keeper come out and just push the engine to the next limits, like, if you look at the trends graph for Godot, it's insane. It's absolutely insane. Just how well it's doing. And when you have Unity doing massive fuck-ups in their like marketing and stuff. Anyone tried Signalis yet? No, I haven't, but it looks really cool. It looks really, really cool. Like, let's have a look actually. I'm curious at the things. Obviously I think Unity and Unreal will take the cake here. But I'm just a big believer in Godot. I think it's the future. There's Godot. Let's check out Unreal Engine, maybe. Computer program, or I will just put Unreal Engine. Obviously, it's going to be much higher. That was higher then, and I wonder what that decline has been. Do you think this was like a fortnight? Oh, that's only past 12 months. Let's do the past 5 years. Oh, it's had a boost in popularity. Do you think this was 2021? I wonder what that was. Do you think that was Unreal Engine 5 coming out? And with the cool, the dope looking demos and stuff? Wonder what that was. Fortnite? Let's add Unity. U5 2022, got you. What's going on, Kim? How are you doing? What I really like about it is, unlike Unity, I can really look at Godot game and say that was made in Godot. Yeah, I have the same thing actually. Damn, look at Unity though. Unity is blowing up. Let's try the game engine. I know that's UE5. UE5, no one cares. But let's try this one as well. And let's try, I mean, no one really cares, do they? Unreal Engine computer program, maybe? Purple. Well, there we go. That's a bit better. I'll get rid of these. Obviously, these are specific, so it's not going to be a better search term. And let's change the Godot one to the actual Godot. The heck? Godot game engine, there we go. Godot's yellow. I mean, it's about the same. Unity is obviously killing it. Yeah, Unity is killing it. It's actually, I'm interested to see that it's increased. You know what I mean? Game Maker Studio. Game Maker Studio? I guess Game Maker will do. Yeah, Game Maker's around the same. It's actually declining a little bit, but it's around the same level as Godot. What graph is this? This is just a Google Trends. So basically it analyzes web search data or interest over time. So you can see basically how popular some things are compared to other things. And we can see that Unity searches are huge. Not surprised to see a decline this year. Is that because of the payments? Their new payments thing, I guess. UE5 was announced in 2021, could be the spike, yeah. This was the start of 2022, things are cracking off. Oh, sorry, here. 2022, April 2022. That's 2020 there. Can't really see a spike in maybe 2021, the end of 2021. Don't know. Godot's doing well though. But I think they shared more interesting stuff. Industry standard. Godot users are Bitcoin owners before the boom. Yes. I thought the charts from GMTK on which engines were used for the jams each year were pretty interesting too. I forgot about that. I can't remember what they were. Was it on here? Was it in submissions? No. Was it in results? No. Maybe an overview. Maybe he just hasn't put it on here. Oh, it was on the left, wasn't it? I'm sure it was on somewhere around here. I don't know. I think it's a tweet. I can share it. Okay, sweet. Let me permit you. Oh, I don't know if I'll be able to have a look at it. Can you screenshot it? Can you screenshot it and send it? Actually, because I can't view Twitter. It's blocked. I think it's blocked. Alright, let's try this new area out. Where's my level 33? Might need a new level target. I'm so sick of level targets. Let's just get good at the game. Bloody hell. Is this for a video or we just procrastinate? Just procrastinate and Kiminate, as always. I mean, I procrastinated for an hour already before I get started today. Why not some more? But that's not that's not my goal with the streams, really. My goal with the streams is to chill and have a nice time. Uh-oh. Can we see the starting area for a sec? Want to get a good look, like the skelly? Oh, it's just a, I'll just show you in Clip Studio. It's just a concept art. It's not a mock-up yet. It's just a quick concept art. The mock-up's going to be different, but I'll show it anyway. That's what it kind of looks like. It's all rubbish. Like it hasn't got any of the value properly in. It hasn't got any of the layers in properly or anything like that. Might as well start the 1 hour, 1 game stream. Yeah. I was thinking about doing that. But looks good, bro. Thanks, Mr. Trend. Yeah, you'll get there. I hope for the next devlog to have the player animations and the mock-up for the first area done again, just so it's on the same level. Send them on Discord DMs. Not sure if that works. Yeah, it'll probably work. Let's have a look. Thank you. Obviously don't want to show the DMs. What made you pick the flower for the tune? It's all based on the story, so all will be revealed in the next devlog. There's a completely new story. It's like the problem with the lumber jump story, as I mentioned in the previous streams, is that the problem with those was that the freaking what am I trying to say here? It was just a beginning and a middle with no end because of the way that I've wrote or whatever. The load didn't fit. Yeah, it didn't fit. But this new story with the flower, it's all beginning, middle, end. So should be Gucci. Thank you for that, Talaba. Let's have a look at this. So this was 2020, 2021, and then 2022, right? So we can see 61% Unity, 15% Godot, other engines, Unreal 4.8. Unreal went down in 2021. That's interesting. What did Godot do? Went down. GameMaker, did that increase? Yeah, GameMaker increased, and Unity stayed about the same, to be honest. No RPG Maker on there. It was probably an other engine, right? And then what did we get from this one? 20 was left. Oh, this one's 2022. Gotcha. Yeah, I might have that the wrong way around. So what's this one? Is this the starting one? Godot 11%, Unreal Engine 3.6%, Unreal Engine by 1% increased, and then Unreal Engine by 0.2%. So Godot is increasing by like 2% each time, basically. 2 point something, 2%, 2%. That's kind of cool. Game Maker, wow, Game Maker dropped by 2%. That's interesting. Whoa, you see the massive dip in Game Maker here. Do you think that's because Godot's been gaining popularity? The thing is, what makes a huge difference is a homogenization of the engines, less unique one. What makes a huge difference, I think, is content creators. Because as the engines are used more tutorials come out. More devlogs with that engine. Like, I get comments all the time, like, what engine do you use? And it's like, why would you ask me? Like, I'm a noob. You know what I mean? But it's still, people base that on what they're doing. I'm curious to see how Unity looks next year. Yes! It's had some huge drama this year. But I don't mind being a proponent for an engine which is, I believe in, you know? If I can make this game and release it, this is my first Godot game. My first ever Godot game that's going to be released. I've released the game before, but it was with Unity. And I don't think I would use Unity again, to be honest with you. And I think that's a cool mission to have, to be a change with increasing, like, I might not be able to contribute to Godot's code base or anything like that, but if I can increase Godot's user base, which then in turn increases its hopefully contributions and the amount of projects used. You didn't release the card match game. I mean, like a commercial game. You know what I mean? Plus, the card match game was heavily based on a tutorial by Born CG. It was basically a mod. I believe that's more of a mod. You know what I mean? I mean, you got me to jump on Godot for my first game engine. Let's go, Mr. Trend. I just believe in it. You know, I'm not gonna shill something I don't believe in. And Godot for me has just been really good. It's just been a super good process. Like, I don't really, as much as I think Unreal might be good. And I can definitely see that it is really good for 3D because look at Pontypants, for example. Pontypants' fighting game looks incredible. You know what I mean? It looks really good for his first game. And a lot of that, I imagine, is down to not only his creative ability, like artistic ability and stuff, but his the engine as well. Because Unity's, you can tell what BBS was saying, you can see, you know what I mean? And I think that's the problem, Talaba. Unreal is just not quite as accessible for indies. And I think that is the problem. The way I see it going, like you're saying, is I see as Godot's popularity and tutorials increase, and if Unity keep fucking up, I see Godot taking over Unity. But I see Unreal, actually, no, in the long term. What's going on, Goatface Games? How you doing? You use Godot. Godot is dope. I see Unreal staying as being this like industry standard 3D professional software, because like you were saying before, it's not just about bloody hell. It's not just about movies. I mean games. It's about movies and simulations and architecture and all that stuff. But with how easy Godot is to jump on, how lightweight it is for small indies to get into, and how easy it is. Why is my double jump not freaking working sometimes? I need to check that out, man. That's pissing me off. Let's find my double jump. What's going on here? Double jump. Bloody hell, I don't want to look at this on stream. That's spaghetti. We're not doing a cooking stream. I heard a lot of smaller devs are moving away from Unity to Godot and Unreal 5. Would you say that? I'm not sure about Unreal 5, but I have seen a lot of people moving from Unity to Godot, because I follow the I don't know if any of you are on the Reddit for Godot, fuck. But it seems like every other post of Reddit on Reddit about Godot is just moved from Unity to Godot. You know what I mean? That's all I see on that Reddit. Some people post their problems with their games, but some other... Why is that not working? But a huge amount of the posts that I see are moved from Unity to Godot. And a lot of that was because of the recent controversies as well. Because it's interesting that, like, why would... Unreal is a huge... Like, I think the problem is, like what Talaba said, it's just not as appealing maybe for indies, Unreal, because... I don't know why. To me, it just looks more complicated. You know what I mean? It just looks more complicated. I think there's something to be said about like the optics of the way a game engine looks and feels. Like when I watch Pontypants, for example, I don't look at him using the engine and go, that seems like something I can do. I look at the engine and I go, that looks intimidating. Exactly, Mr. Trend. It looks intimidating. And I think that the optics of the way an engine is used is important. And I also look at the visual scripting. For me personally, as a beginner, the visual scripting is actually a turn-off. Like the blueprint system, I know it's quite simple, but for me, the blueprint system is like to me it feels like a handicap almost, in that you are like, if I want to sit down and learn something, maybe that's what I see here. Is this idea that like you have this one system which is blueprints, right? And you have this other system which is C++, right? And my personal thing with that was, well, how much can I do with blueprints and how much will I need to do with C++? To me, that's like learning two things just to use the program. And I have a preference for the scripting side of things. I never really wanted to do visual scripting because I just thought, well, if I'm going to learn it, I'm just going to do visual. I'm just going to do the actual coding. And I actually quite like coding. The community that I've met for it on Reddit, yeah, the community is awesome. Got sick of YouTube recommendations with this title, yeah. I don't know why, but I have high hopes of Godot 4. Yeah, Godot 4 is going to be huge, I think. Godot 4 coming out is going to be huge. I chose Godot because I solely want to learn via visual scripting, and now it's gone bye-bye. No, I saw that, and I can see both sides. Like, some people want to get used to the visual scripting and stuff, but the they can focus more, hopefully put more resources into the other stuff, you know what I mean? I'd say that's a marketing problem. You don't need C++ for basic indie titles. Blueprint is hella powerful and get you a very long way. Yeah, I think that's probably a marketing problem, because it's just like, it's my interpretation basically of like visual scripting not being as good, you know what I mean? Like, that's just how I perceive it, and it probably is, like you say, it's just fine, you know what I mean? It's probably fine for the majority of stuff that you want to make as an indie developer, but for me, like, visual scripting has always seemed like worse than just scripting, you know what I mean? And since Godot's scripting language, GD script, is so simple compared to C#, C++, like, it just makes no sense. It makes no sense. Feels like cheating. Yeah, it feels like cheating in a way. Yeah, it feels like cheating in a way. Like, I want to make games, I want to learn to code, you know, and it doesn't feel like learning to code blueprints, in my opinion. It doesn't feel like learning to code. It is, like, I know it's a stupid mindset to have, but it's like Talaba said, it's the mindset, it's the marketing, it's just how it feels, you know? I always perceive it as not as good, but to me, half the fun is the challenge of writing something yourself. Yeah. I know a bit of Python, so that was another reason I leaned towards Godot and GD script. Yeah, I was learning Python as well. I think what is going on with that jump? It's that first jump all the time. I think the initial thing, like, I think I'd spent a long time learning C#. Not a super long time, but I had been spending some time learning C#. I'd done some courses in C#, and I did a bunch of the solo learn stuff in C#. I have a video on that, and when I tried GD script, the difference for me was just that GD script was so much simpler. You know what I mean? It is so much simpler than C#. And I don't need the crazy differences in I don't need too many crazy differences. You know what I mean? I don't know why I said that differences, to be honest, my brain doesn't work. I definitely feel like more of a badass hacker typing code. Yes, that's one of the feelings that I want making games. I want to feel like a badass hacker, and I feel that way when I use GD script. I don't feel the same way writing semicolons though, which is why I can't get away with C#. I like C#. I think it's good. I think it's very powerful as well. But I just forgetting to write a semicolon doesn't feel the same. Almost feels like arbitrary, you know what I mean? Although I know there are problems with like dynamic and statically typed languages, and, you know, explicit and whatever implicit languages, and not properly typed languages and shit like that. Like, I know there are problems with that in like industry, but none of that as an independent game developer bothers me. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care. For now, at least. Maybe in a bigger project I will. I start with JavaScript, which is similar to Python, and how simple the syntax. I did some JavaScript for like this bootcamp thing that I was going to do, which I didn't end up doing, but I found JavaScript to be in between Python and C#. Like, it feels like an in-between language, where it's not quite Python and it's not quite C#, but it's like a mixture of both almost. You know what I mean? Oh, that's hype. Ah, shit, okay. I'll never not defend Blueprint is awesome, but I do have random moments here and there of wanting to write something rather than node it up. I'm not trying to say it's not awesome. Like, it's what I've seen people create from blueprints is awesome. It's incredible. I think it is super awesome that it has this more accessible way, in some ways, more accessible way of creating cool games in a super powerful engine. I just think, like you said before, I just think it's the marketing. I think it's the sort of optics of a visual scripting language compared to scripting. I don't think it's as popular. Well, it currently is popular, but I don't think it is as popular as learning to code is, you know? I guess it depends on the person as well, because things like Construct and Stencil and stuff, they have like visual scripting stuff as well, don't they? I know Hello. I think it's Hello. Forget. Probably more powerful. Yeah, definitely more powerful than GDScript. Like GDScript, I don't think is powerful. I think GDScript, you can actually run into a lot of issues with GDScript as well, because of how not powerful it is, depending on certain things that you need. But that's the thing, isn't it? It's depending on what you need. Like, I'm more comfortable now with just scripting that, or programming, that I don't actually mind looking at C# for tutorials. You know what I mean? Like, I can look at C# for tutorials and translate it into Godot. Which is why there becomes a certain point where it doesn't matter how many tutorials there are as well, because you can just translate something else into the C#, because it's just the logic at the end of the day that you need, right? It's not necessarily the syntax. If you understand the syntax, you can just translate it, like I said. Don't need to go there. Oh, you do? Okay. Syntax. I don't know what it is. I don't know what the right word is. I need a new level target. That's far too high up to test. Where are we going? Let's go level 34. Let's go here, but the other way. I actually don't mind the idea of visual scripting when it comes to a custom complex function that doesn't change. Yeah, I can see that. I also like the personality you can put into your code by scripting. Yeah, I just like typing. You know what I mean? There's something satisfying to me about typing. It's maybe the like clicking and dragging and stuff. It's why I don't like I don't really like editing videos in DaVinci Resolve versus Premiere Pro. To me, has the same issue. Like node-based editing, I don't like as much as layer-based editing. I much prefer a layer-based edit. I know it's not as powerful, but it just feels more intuitive and more simple to me. Maybe that could be a mix of visual and scripting, but that's what Unreal tries to achieve, right? With its blueprints and stuff, doesn't it? And so you can have a lot more creative personality with a visual script. How so? Being my computer and being productive with code feels good. Because to me, I don't know what the like thing is. I don't know, like with visual scripting, it seems like you're almost like forced into a you're almost forced into a certain, you are the same forced in with programming, the way you have to write things, but like with a print, like I think for me it's the, you know, that you have to what's it called, you have to drag them around and shit. Like that to me is annoying. I find the process of dragging things around annoying. I don't know if that makes sense. What's going on, Tech Box? How you doing? Yeah, Lumber's dead. New game now. Just kidding, it's the same game. So where do I want to go here? Let's just say a bad blueprint can be a real piece of art. I'd like to see some, because I don't have any idea of any of that stuff. So you bounce up here, you come back, and then what? Maybe just jump up here or something? I don't know. Level's getting complicated. I'm just making it up as I go along. It doesn't really have a theme, this one. Kind of supposed to, but I don't really care. I think there's a Tumblr called Blueprints from Hell, which always get a good chuckle from UE devs. There we go, tech box. There's the story. Nah, it isn't that. More will be revealed. More will be revealed. Blueprints from Hell. Can I ask you how you started your whole process to actually start making a game? You mean like where I started with game development? Yeah, of course. I've been thinking about making the videos from it. Oh, I can see it. I can see it. This makes me feel sick because it reminds me of Blender's nodes. Reminds me of Blender's nodes, and they're like disgusting, you know? I think at least 5 talks used an image during the conference and it worked every time. Yeah, these are crazy. Like this gives me anxiety. I don't get the same anxiety from writing script. Like this looks horrible to me. Like that, for example. Like that is just sickening. Like finding the match here is... I guess that's what it is though. Like visual scripting looks like that because that's what scripting looks like. But not. One more thing for scripting, if you go on any of those game-based learning to code websites, you see there's hundreds of ways to write the exact same thing, yeah. I know enough about what I want to do to make a game. Just kind of like when you were like, I know enough about what oh, okay. So I think, really, the first game I made was with a friend. So, first game was with a friend. And we wanted to make a 3D Battle Royale game, and that didn't happen. In a nutshell, we wanted to make a 3D Battle Royale game, but in order to actually learn how to make games, we ended up settling with a mobile game. You know, everyone's like, we make a Flappy Bird game, it's going to blow up, it's going to be insane. And he did the majority of the programming, and I did the majority of the art. However, as the process was going on, because it took about 6 months, as the process was going on, I started to learn C# as well. So that was my first introduction to like programming. And he had gone from 0 programming experience to being really good at programming very quickly. Because, like, that's why I was saying, like, you can be stuck in tutorial hell, but the best thing that you can do is start your own project. Because you'll learn very quickly how to put things together, and the questions that you have of making your own project will be solved. The only thing that you really need is, like, a curiosity, which is like an unquenchable, you know what I mean? Like an unquenchable curiosity of how to do stuff. And what I mean is you need to be pretty good at Googling shit. Google it. You know what I mean? Like Google it. Google everything. My process for Googling things is I will Google a question that I've got and I'll click on all of the tabs that show up. I'll click on like the first 5 and you learn the ones to avoid. Usually Reddit's pretty good. Usually Stack Overflow is pretty good. But sometimes it's crap. Sometimes the forums are crap. Sometimes you need to ask specific advice in like Discord or whatever. But generally, learning how to Google stuff will help you get to where you want to go. So basically, my like programming was getting to about that point. And then at some point, it started to get just as good as my friends. So I started, once we finished that project, like I implemented all of the ads and stuff and all of the, some of the other stuff, like the mobile integration stuff. And that's what got me pretty good at coding just in C#. And in order to learn that, I was using SoloLearn and just the project-based stuff. And a bit of Udemy courses as well. Udemy courses I find to be really good. I don't like YouTube tutorials too much on that, but there is a really good one from the Udemy course that I found, which was called Game Dev HQ, I believe. Game Dev HQ does a really good YouTube course. Because it's sort of taught in a really well way. Like it has all the concepts that you get in all of the other ones, but it's taught well. You know what I mean? Like there are sort of challenges and tasks to do. And then I started making my own games in Unity. Basically, after we released that project, I started making my own games, and it was difficult at first. Like literally everything is being Googled. How to move something? How to, you know, how do you move an object? And then you learn about like transform. You learn about things like kinematic bodies, you know. You learn the basic stuff. And then you learn about, well, how do things touch each other? Well, then you learn about colliders, you know? And as time goes on, the more you Google, you'll Google and you'll learn more and more and more and more. And then you just get to a point where you don't need to Google it. Or you remember some stuff, or you know exactly what you need to do, and you just need a reminder, so you do a quick Google. And you just start to make things. And then I switched to Godot, and GDScript was really simple, because I did some Python in the background for a Discord bot. And it got easier and easier. And now I can just do it. But I think it was a combination of like learning programming, not just like learning programming for game dev, but learning programming and then applying it, learning programming, looking at game dev specific programming like tutorials, and also my own project. And I'd say out of all of them, like the learning programming part was necessary. Like this was 100% necessary. This not as necessary, though helpful. Whereas I'd say those two combined are the most important. Like looking at a game dev specific, like this is the most important by far, learning programming and the fundamentals of programming. But if you want to make your own project, do your own project at the same time as looking at tutorials. Because the tutorials that you look at will be based on the things that you need for your game. You know what I mean? And you'll just learn and learn and learn and learn while making a project. I think it'll all be broken down, like I said, into smaller things like how do you move how do you collide objects together? You know, how do you save a file? You know, how do you store data and stuff? And then you look into it's just like I said, the unquenchable curiosity gets you there in the end. But this is all through consistency, you know? If you do it this is what I had in mind, because to me, programming was the hardest thing in the world. It was the hardest, you know? It was so difficult. I didn't think I could ever get my head around it. However, I said to myself this, and I remember it very clearly. If I spend just 1 hour a day on it, where will I be in 1 year? You know what I mean? And if you have that mindset where it's just like, if I just spend an hour a day, where will you be in 1 year? And in a year, you are 365 hours, you know, because that 1 hour sometimes turns into 2 hours. Sometimes you don't do any hours, but consistency and learning will get you the hours into it. It's the same as playing a game. When you start playing Counter-Strike, for example, you're a noob. But once you've got 2,000 hours, you're pretty good. Once you've got 10,000, you're insane. Once you've got 20,000, you're ridiculous, nuts, crazy, or you have no life. But just spend time. Spend time. And everyone progresses at different rates because you might be learning efficiently, you might be learning more inefficiently. But just spend time on it and you'll get good. And don't get in tutorial hell either. Tutorial hell is a real thing. Tutorial hell is when you just do tutorials all the time. I have a lot of time in BF, but still a noob. What, Battlefield? You're not learning efficiently. You got to practice aim training. Like I remember in Counter-Strike, I would learn like smoke spots and flash grenade techniques and pop flashes and all that shit. You know what I mean? People who aren't doing that, they're just not going to get as good. And I used to do aim training before every game. And that's how you get good, you know? And then I got frustrated and quit. For the good. I'm glad, though. I'm very glad I stopped playing. Although recently I've been playing, because things have been shitty in real life, I like to play games to sort of distract myself, as I'm sure a lot of people do in the world. And I really like Overwatch, actually. I really like the new Overwatch. It's actually kind of chill. That's how pixel art was for me. What do you mean? You can take one look at a blueprint and know it's fucked. Yeah, that's true, Talaba. That's not a bad argument, actually. Still just coding practice, though. I'd actually argue it's better in a way. Yeah, I can see that. I can see that with what you said there. That's a pretty good way to put it. you can instantly see that it's messed up. And you can probably identify the areas where it's messed up. That's pretty cool. I guess it's just, I'm not trying to argue that Blueprint is worse. And in fact, like you're saying, in a lot of ways, it probably is better. I just think it looks so boring. Which is weird, because you're just looking at a text editor. But I think it's the clicking and dragging for me, It's the clicking and dragging which puts me off. Which is interesting. You just put Elden Ring a couple of days ago. What a massive and wonderful game that was. Elden Ring was one of the first games in a while that I've thoroughly enjoyed. And I thoroughly enjoyed it because I could play it however I wanted to. I never finished it. It's far too long for me to finish, I think. If I'm being honest. It's far too long for me to finish. But I figured out, like I used to play I played it with my brother a little bit. And I figured out this area where you could grind for souls, or whatever they're called. I forgot what they're called. You could grind for souls by shooting an arrow at these big birds, and they drop off the side and give you I think it was 20,000 souls or something every time they died, and you just had to keep repeating that. And because I could do that and cheese it, I had so much fun. I had so much fun doing that. I'm not gonna lie, it was awesome, because then I could just blast through the game, or blast through it to a point where I could make my wizard character insane. And I'm glad. I like that, actually. I like options, you know what I mean? Options in game dev, not game dev, in game playing, where the player can kind of choose. I don't have that in this game. I don't have that in this game at all. I don't know why. I think it's because it needs to have a specific, I think I'll try options later on in the last stage. Oh, bloody hell. That fall, every time I fall there, I want to throw my computer. So, it's working. I haven't had, there hasn't been another section in this game so far. There hasn't been another section in the, why does that jump just not work sometimes? There hasn't been another section in this game so far that makes me want to throw my controller. But that fall right there is doesn't fit every game, yeah. What the heck? My jumping is broken. Can you see this? What is going on? There's something wrong with the double jump. I need to look into the double jump. Before I continue making all these levels, I've got to look into the double jump. What is going on? That is freaking, look at me, what the fuck? Right, let's write it. It's because I changed all of the jumping. I changed all of the jumping. Yikes. I'm going to put that in bugs to work on. Okay, that's a bug. From lumberjump to flower fly, speedrun tech, speedrun tricks, yeah. You've been playing Control Alt Ego, lots of player choices in that game. That's cool. What's that about, Goatface? I mean, I could Google it, but I'm so lazy. Everything's fine. Do I really need that area there? I don't. Nice. This is feeling good though. This is a nice little area. I think I'll have to put probably another thing there, like a bucket maybe. I wouldn't call 200 plus hours in Elden Ring speedrun. I finished all Souls games in Bloodborne. Let's go. Yeah, Souls games are really cool. They are really cool. I can't argue with that. So you like difficult games then, Techbox North? What is it that keeps you playing, do you think? It's an immersive sim where you're basically a computer virus in a space station. You possess different electronic gadgets. That's kind of cool. That's really cool. That's really cool, actually. Might gotta check that out. There's loads of games that I want to check out. Maybe we should try that. Like I said, I mentioned the idea where I just play a game for like an hour and we check